seed makes the drugs that you take after their processes have made you deathly ill. It's one circle. And so we have to counter each and every one of the things that they are doing, and they're doing a lot and they're well funded, in order to keep control of our health and our freedom.
Yeah, the whole idea of resistance is as simple as just not going to the grocery store and buying this toxic food. I mean, a lot of people are unattracted to the idea of protests and whatnot, and some people are afraid. I think there's nothing to be afraid of, but I think they'll get their picture taken by, Secret Service or the Patriot Act's founders when they're out doing protests. There's a lot of fear-mongering going on with that. But there's nothing to fear. The best resistance is just simply not going along with it. And there's nothing more powerful than us all growing our own food, if we all did that, than big pharma, big agra, big government altogether. This unity of these huge entities that you've discussed would completely go out of business overnight. It's that simple, and that's so much more powerful of a protest than I'm not saying don't go out and march, but the more we march, the more they increase the troops in Afghanistan, for example. With the more we march, then they have their anti-war Obama president. And all of a sudden he turns pro-war. So they're just laughing at us. So we can laugh back if we simply do what you're doing, Dr. Labo, and set up our own community, which is self-sufficient, which is completely based on natural principles and even ancestral techniques. This is the ultimate power that people have, and there's absolutely nothing they can do to stop this. And it's extremely enlightening and fulfilling. It brings families close together, communities close together. It brings depth to the soul, being out in nature, and your mind is affected by all this power that you feel all around you of everything living and growing. And there's no joke behind that. It's just we've grown so accustomed in our TV reality to not understanding that we can feel these living vitalist forces all around us from this God-created universe and world that we live in. And this gets addicting if you start to feel all this power that we can take back from these absolute criminals who think that they're going to get away with this, and they're absolutely not going to. For just like we were discussing, they've already failed here in America, and they're losing traction all the time. The health movement and the health freedom movement is absolutely exploding everywhere. People, a few years ago, I didn't even think would even care about any of this, are completely interested in supplements and, what kind of supplements are the best. For example, on your website, you've got extremely high-quality types of supplements, not the trash you buy at Walmart, for example. I've bought supplements on your site before, and the prices are quite reasonable. And it's just we can get our health back, we can save money, we can kill their power, and what makes more sense? We can get back to the way people have always lived. So to me, when you hear this message that you're giving and that we're discussing here, the idea would be you just want to spread it to everybody. I mean, how could anybody disagree with these incredibly soulful and spiritual principles of the whole local farming sort of movement that's burgeoning here in America? So it's very inspiring what's going on. So, well, Dr. Labo, we really want to thank you for being with us on the show today. This has been quite wonderful. Very honored to have you on, and we'll look forward to talking to you again down the road sometime.
Thanks so much for having me.
Okay, most of you are out there wondering and enjoying all these conspiracies, but if you want to know or discuss a conspiracy, how about the one that people do not bring solutions? They just continue to talk about the conspiracy, and until this show came along. And I tell you, folks, the solutions are always so simple, aren't they? Just like with Codex Alimentarius, it's just grow your own food. Now, when they make that illegal, as I've told you before, then they still have to send somebody at $12 an hour to come tell you, no, you cannot grow tomatoes for yourself. First of all, I don't know that that's ever going to happen, but second, I always need more fertilizer. Yeah, you can't have too much fertilizer in the backyard. That was Dr. LeBeau, and her website is healthfreedomusa.org. She has been fighting this fight for a very long time, and it was great to have her on with us. And again, that's healthfreedomusa.org. And by the way, I've got plenty of room up on my screen, so you guys can start to instant message me. I guess you were just sitting back enjoying the interview, but do come aboard and instant message us and let us know that you're listening to the show, and you can even call in. The instant message is Big John Lipscomb at yahoo.com, and the phone number is 877-342-6673. But in the meantime, I tell you what I'd like to do is turn the show over with a discussion between my co-host and I. We had an interesting talk this afternoon, didn't we, Jeff? About a lot of the subject that we talked about last night.
Yes. Yeah, we had several interesting discussions. I like what you just said about it's going to take an awful big government to enforce all this stuff. Now, you actually can't enforce something like don't grow your own food with troops and so forth. The only way they can enforce it is through mind control, and more specifically, getting people to believe that they're being watched, or that their neighbors will tattle on them, or that the police are coming if they start to grow their own food. If you get people living under fear, then you could perhaps do it. But there's no way there's going to be enough. You said $12 an hour. I was thinking more like about $30 an hour. The Goon Patrol out there with their Earth First police uniforms on, or whatever it is that they wear, the green uniforms, to try to keep us from doing what is just simply, and all of you know this, a right given to us by God, by our very existence. We have the right to do whatever it is that helps us. John, I think it's almost funny that they think that they can pull this off, because maybe they could do it to a bunch of medieval slaves and so forth in the Dark Ages, but not with a group of 80 million gun owners. And if we have anything to do about it, 80 million very spiritual people that use that technology to fight off this enemy as well.
Yes, and knowledgeable people that are awake. We understand the game now. How can they overcome that? I think they're already treading on thin ice. Hey, last night we got a lot of emails about last night's show because it was pretty controversial. What kind of thoughts did you have afterwards about the globalist religion, the Illuminati that is lurking behind the veil?
Well, the main thing I was concerned about is that people won't understand quite exactly what we're talking about. It seems, however, from the email feedback I got, and my Antimatter Radio show today at antimatterradio.com, I covered that as well, and there's actually a part 2. It's called Hollywood and Dark Ecstasy, part 1 and 2 today and tomorrow. And the feedback I'm getting is that people do understand it, but it's just so bizarre, the whole thing. I mean, we grow up in our lives thinking that reality is one way, apple pie America and all that. And then, to get on the radio here and say that there's a part of us that's, engineered to be like these non-human dark masters, and it's an ecstatic euphoria within us to commit the most horrific sadomasochistic acts. I mean, it's uncomfortable and awkward to do that because it's so remote from anything anybody's known, but at the same time, it almost seems like everybody senses this. I was telling my parents about this show, and they're the biggest. I mean, they're completely out of any kind of. They're TV people, and I passed this one by them, and it seemed to jibe with them. Everybody has this sense that there's a satanic control on this planet that is very dark, and not just because it's in the Bible and other religions as well. But it's almost like we can just feel there's something really wrong, and it's coming way from the top. And So that's my main concern, that people won't understand. I'm just trying to do the best job I can to give this